What is going on, guys? Good morning. It is 8:41. This is episode 8 of Dispersing the Cloud. I'm laughing because my buddy's kids are downstairs and they're wiling out. Just a little recap of the week, what I had going on. Everything with Josh and the Sock Army as far as book orders is done. I'm waiting. I've been waiting on the printing press for a while now, but from what they tell me in the last conversation I had with the individual who's running it, is literally I don't need to have any more conversations with them, which would be huge because I'm sick of talking about it. I just want to get the books and start booking some readings. We had new art for one of my books coming out. Working with one of my buddy's wives. She's a phenomenal artist, and she sent me some mock-ups of what that looks like. So we were doing that this week. Tour is finalized for the As You Are tour this summer from June to August. It should be 35 different shows. That's the plan. We still got to book it. But we have, I think, 5 or 6 different sponsors. Chad Mendez, Fins and Feathers stepped up. We got a clothing company called Rags. My buddy, Annunciation, Alex, Mate Bros, is sponsoring us. I think we just picked up a guitar sponsor too, which was kind of huge. And then we talked to the nonprofit, the Rimstead family from Papua New Guinea. The missionary family that I've been helping out, their nonprofit organization that they work with is New Tribes Missions, and New Tribes Missions gave us the go-ahead to partner up with them, as well as Hope Initiative, a nonprofit in Northern California that works with works to stop local sex trafficking. So we're working with both of those nonprofits for the tour. That was kind of huge. We set up the dates, the next dates for recording times, and I'm actually going to be posting those. So if you guys want to come in and watch me record for the album, that's going to be March 16th, 17th, and 18th. Those are going to be given away via Instagram games or Instagram rewards or whatever. But I'll have slots for at least 4 or 5 people to come in and watch me record and do that. Socially Challenged, I've been talking about it for like 6 weeks now. Socially Challenged is a political, current event kind of podcast I started with my buddy Daniel. It does lean hard politics because I like talking about politics, I like talking about religion, but I wanted to do that on a separate form. I don't like jamming that stuff down people's throat, but I love talking about it. So we created a Facebook page called Socially Challenged. If you guys want to check that out, you definitely can. And then we're wrestling this week. We were wrestling yesterday at the Masters tournament in Stockton. They're wrestling again today. We pushed one guy through. So I'm going to try to make my way back over there around midday. I'm in Fresno right now. So last night I drove from Stockton to Fresno. I had to knock out some stuff here and do one quick lunch meeting. And then I got some auditions that I did last week. And I got a couple more auditions that I actually have to film today. So that's stuff kind of coming down the pipeline, and then stuff from last week. Last week I was talking about process. It was... I was talking about priorities and how I can get my work done more efficiently as long as I prioritize things, because I have like 6 or 7 different projects going on right now, and I feel like sometimes I get focused in on one and totally forget about another one. So I put into best practice goal setting every single day. So now I have a notepad with me. I got another notepad. For those of you who've seen me rolling around, I got a big backpack on with a small child in it, basically. Everything that I need to kind of do my mobile operations is in there, and I added one more binder just for my goal setting every morning. That has actually been helping a lot this week. I got a lot more done. The other thing is timing. And it kind of goes along with priorities. Because I'm jumping around to different projects, I need to get on a better schedule as far as my timing schedule. When I'm going to bed and when I'm waking up is always random because I'm on the road. I think last night I went to bed at like midnight because I got in late and I woke up at like 6 a.m. and it's decent, like 6 hours of sleep. That's great. I'd love to be getting to bed a little bit earlier, maybe 10 o'clock, and getting up at 5, maybe get 7 hours. I don't know. I'm still working on that. I got to get better at it, and being on the road, it's tough. Upcoming next week, I have it down here in my notes again, auditions, got band practice for the tour, and then we're starting to book the tour. Now that everything's kind of lined up, I think we're releasing the poster for the tour on Monday. We were going to do it today, but we're still waiting. We have a verbal from the New Tribes Missions to use their logo, but we're waiting on an official email just so we're covered legally all throughout. That's pretty much what's coming up for next week. This week's book was Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. If you guys don't know who Simon Sinek is, if you're on Facebook a lot, he's the guy who did the 15-minute talk on millennials and why they're just addicted to cell phones and how they're supposed to operate in corporate settings. So that's who Simon Sinek is. It's the guy who's sitting there with the glasses. Check him out. Leaders Eat Last actually has a lot to do with that. The whole book talks about organizations, how our corporations operate, and how leaders emerge from those corporations. And it kind of has less to do with what you need to do to be a leader and more to do with what the current issues are within the corporate world looking at leaders. If you guys are looking for a book to say, hey man, I want to be a leader, how do I do that? John Maxwell, seven effective habits of highly effective habits of. I'll get it for you before this thing's over. The cloud has me right now. It's a little. The whole purpose of this thing is dispersing the cloud, and right now the cloud has me. John Maxwell, good habits of highly effective people. That's one of them. 7 levels of leadership is the other one. Those are both 2 very good books by John Maxwell. He does a lot of leadership stuff. Go check him out. Google it. They don't have better information than me. Google's got a better memory. So anyway, Leaders Eat Last, talking about corporations and how we operate within them. It had some really interesting information on stimulus that we receive. Dopamine, endorphins, cortisone, serotonin. These are all things that our body produces naturally. And depending on where we're getting our influence from, we get different types of stimulus from our own body. And so one of the arguments is that when we create groups that you can have trust in, right, we get a very healthy stimulus, which is like endorphins, right? This is the feeling that you're getting. Your body's telling you that after you work out. That's a great example. You work out and it gives you endorphins, right? And it's like, man, I feel jazzed up because I worked out. When we create groups where we have trust, if anyone has ever been on a athletic team, I've wrestled my whole life, I played baseball, I played football, you have a camaraderie. And that relationship that you build with your teammates over years, you really have an endorphin type relationship, meaning those endorphins are going back, and it's a very healthy stimulus. He makes the argument that corporations made a switch, and I mentioned this last night in our podcast of Socially Challenged. In 1981, I believe it was, and I believe it was Reagan. Yeah, I believe it was Reagan. I believe it was 1981. He made the first mass firing of people. It was air traffic control people, and they were on strike, and it was affecting the economy. And so instead of dealing with the problem, he made a decision to fire all of them, right? And thus creating a short-term reward versus a long-term relationship healing of whatever that problem was, the right pay or whatever. When he did that, he kind of gave like this subconscious, and this is obviously Simon Sinek's take on it, he gave a subconscious permission for other corporate leaders to do the same thing. And ever since then, that in 1981, we've kind of gone into this world of corporations are worried about the short-term economic growth, right, rather than the long-term. He gives countless examples of companies that don't do that. Companies like Costco. Costco focuses on their employees, and over a short period of time, he compared them to GE. And he said they kind of started at the same time, and during a short period of time, GE's growth was way more exponential. Exponential is the wrong word. It was way more rapid. And over a long period of time, Costco blew them out of the water with exponential growth because they focused on their employees. Costco has practices like always, like 2/3 of its managers are hired from within. They started as clerks. And so they have this environment and this atmosphere of when you are with us, you're with us. There was another company that he mentioned, I don't have it in my notes, that said once you get hired, you can't get fired. It's impossible. You cannot get fired. The only way you can get fired from this particular company is if you break its moral code, right? And they did two things. One, it made all the employees feel like they had job security. And so they started sharing information. They started admitting when they were wrong. I don't know if any of you are like me, worked for an organization where no one admits they're wrong because you want to make it look like you're the smart one in the room and you don't want to get fired and all the above. But yet if you would just admit you're wrong, we could move forward in a much healthier way, and we both could get our projects done a little faster. And the second thing that did is it made the company be a lot better at hiring people. They did 4, 5, 6, 7 interviews before they hired people because they said, man, once we hire this person, we can't fire them. It's in our bylaws. That was very, very interesting to me. Simon Sinek would argue that it goes back to a primal aspect of our lives. He talked a lot about alpha males and how we evolved as humans. So in a very primal sense, we had alpha males, and our alpha male was usually the strongest. The alpha male ate first. The alpha male got the best looking woman, right? And there was a couple different reasons why we did that. One, you let the alpha male eat first because the assumption is, right? The assumption is that if danger shows up, the alpha male is going to step up and he's going to protect the entire group. Now, subconsciously, we are totally fine with this. We have no problem letting the alpha male eat first as long as he's for us, right? And corporations are no different. If we let the corporation eat first, right? Bank of America, JP Morgan, whatever corporation that we're ticked off at right now, if we let them eat first, we're actually okay with letting them eat first. The problem that we have is when situations arise like economic downfall, when they don't step up and protect us, subconsciously we don't know how to deal with that because at a primal level, it doesn't make sense to us. We let you eat first. Now there's trouble here. It's your job to step up and take care of the trouble. It shouldn't be left on us. I mean, we let you eat first. The other thing that I just thought was interesting about that, the alpha male always gets the best looking girl. We do that so like the group isn't stupid, right? The group says, hey, as humanity we want, or as our little tribe, we want those genes of that good looking girl to stay within our gene pool. We don't want that to go away. So at a primal level, we're like, all right, just give it to the good looking dude. At least we'll make our group better looking in the long run. I just thought that was really interesting. I got the boys downstairs. They're wilding out right now, probably driving their mom crazy. If you guys are just joining me, I am in Fresno right now at my buddy Ryan's house, staying with him and his family. I got a meeting a little bit later today in Fresno, then I head back to Northern California. I made the trip out here last night. So all in all, this book was really, really informative on how we can approach the understanding of work relationships and our leaders and what leaders actually look like. There was a very compelling story at the very beginning of the book, talking about the Marines. And I think this guy's call name was Johnny Bravo. You know, they got cool call names like Maverick and Goose and all the above. So this guy was a pilot. It was Johnny Bravo. That was his call sign. And there were Marines on the ground. He had this instinctive feeling that something was wrong. There was ground cover, like cloud, very low cloud cover. And so he started making his descent to go check on these Marines who were actually moving through a very hostile territory. And on his way down through the clouds, he heard over the radio, I don't know the term they use, again, I don't have it in my notes, but contact, right? Enemy contact, soldiers in danger, enemy contact. And so he gets underneath, and sure enough, he comes down and he can see tracer fire coming from both sides of the canyon, coming in on these troops that are basically pinned down on both sides of the canyon, and tracer fire is going down. And so it's a very narrow stretch of terrain, and he's flying super low because of the cloud cover. But he works out to where he figures out that he can give about 5 seconds of fire, right, on one of these passes that he's doing. And so he gets down and he counts to 1, 2, 3, and he's laying fire, 4, 5. And when he hits 5, he pulls up so he doesn't run into the next canyon, goes back up into the cloud, comes back around and makes another pass, right? And so he does it the first time, and he hears the call. Great, keep it coming, right? That was perfect. Good hit. He makes 4 passes. After 4 or 5 passes, he's out of ammo, right? So what he does is he goes up top to his wingman, who he told to hang back, and he comes back down, and he tells the wingman, follow me. I'll do the counting, you do the shooting. And so this guy goes, and they make 4 or 5 more passes. Long story short, this guy saves the lives of every American soldier on the in that particular group of Marines, and they get back to the base, and they hug like they're brothers. They never met before, but they hug. And he's basically trying to help us understand the argument, or understand the concept of what a leader looks like. And I mean, he makes the point that those leaders in the military, the higher your rank, they're the last person to eat, basically. And that's where the name of the book comes from. And they asked Johnny Bravo, this guy, why did you do it? And he said, I did it because they would have done it for me. And it's this idea that when you're in this circle, meet the Fockers, circle of trust. Are you not in the circle, Greg? Are we not in the circle? Circle of trust. When you're in this organization that has a circle of trust, you do it because you know that the other guy would do it for you. I thought that was really, really telling. Amazing to look at our corporations in that light. Great book, 4 stars. I'm going to buy it physically and have it, not just have it on audio. Highlight it, go back to it. Simon Sinek, he is a great author. Love him. Upcoming next week, launch of a new business for me. I'm still working on the paperwork. I can't officially tell you what that is until we get going. I'll be publishing another ebook next month. This is next month, not next week. And still setting up dates for the tour, trying to make all that happen smoothly. Little word of inspiration for you guys as I bounce out. Attention campers, lunch will be canceled today. Ludodaka hustling. There's dyslexia for you. Attention campers, lunch will be canceled today due to lack of hustle. Get out there, do it. Do what you got to do. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Dispersing the Cloud. Dispersing the Cloud had over, I think, 360 views. We had 67 comments during the live stream. We went for an hour. You guys need to get on Facebook and check that out. It's vastly more popular than my book reviews, probably because there's 2 people talking, and Daniel's a little more entertaining than I am. Follow me on my social media outlets, guys. I'll see you next week. The next book is going to be, I didn't get to it this week, Grant Cardone. If you ain't first, you last. I'll see you guys then.